Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a video on my thoughts on the film Wonder Woman, which is the DC film that I've been alluding to doing a review of, and here's the review of sorts. As I refer to them as on the channel, my thoughts on, insert movie title here, which is Wonder Woman. I, for the life of me, don't know when this was released. 2017, maybe? Anyway, well, that's by the by. The film, I finally watched it for the first time, just before setting up this video, and what did I think of it? I thought it was good. The end. No, I thought it was enjoyable. I did enjoy it. I don't think it was amazing. I don't think it was terrible. It could have been better. It could have been a lot worse. I think sort of the beginning, middle, are better than the end. The end is very much where it just lost me, and I didn't find it very interesting. I mean, the beginning also starts a bit odd in so much as I assumed we'd start on the planet or the place that the Amazons are from, and we didn't. We started in modern times, and then there's this weird thing with Wayne corporation or entity and that, and in reference to Batman and that, and he has this like picture thing framed or glass like picture thing and that, and it's very strange, or it starts kind of odd in my opinion, and then from there we go to the Amazon place, or the place, of the Amazons even. One thing I will say is that I do like the fact that this is one of the few DC films that I can actually visually see what's happening. There's actual colour and I appreciate that the DC films are very much opposed to colour for whatever reason. I mean, I get it with the likes of sort of Batman. I get why that is. It's just that, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, all look like very dark films visually. I think Aquaman looks as though it might actually have quite a bit of light as well, and that, which is always helpful to be able to actually see the film you're watching. As dumb as it sounds, it's just something DC just don't seem to understand. And what is odd is how I feel like with DC and all their comics and graphic novels, and that they have a lot of very good villains, or just lots of different villains throughout their comics, and yet besides the Joker in the films anyway, in the likes of the Batman trilogy, or even though I don't think that's technically counted as a film in the DCEU or whatever the hell they want to call it, but yeah, and then the Suicide Squad as well, but that also has again the Joker, Zod from Man of Steel. What I'm getting at is basically the only real standout villain in the DC films, in my personal opinion, is the Joker, and that's about it. I was gonna say that I really like the villain in this, but then they bait and switch right near the latter end of the film, the villain, and it really annoyed me because I much preferred the villain that we did have, and that. And obviously there'll be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen Wonder Woman, then please don't watch this video. But if you have, great, because the villain that I would have preferred was that person with that like sort of scarred face and that sort of weird sort of prosthetic, like plasticky prosthetic thing on the face. She looked really interesting. I loved the fact that, in my head, I loved the idea that the main protagonist and hero is female, but then also gender equality, have it where the villain is also female, and that would have been really interesting. It sort of have a commentary. You could have gone down the route of having a commentary about how women as amazing and as great as like the Wonder Woman women are, there are still some women who are not particularly nice, just like how that can be the same with men, you know, and that. And, you know, obviously they opt out of that and just, you know, throw this random sort of shitty wannabe villain. Like the end conclusion and fight, as it were, is really piss poor. It's really just shit. It's very anticlimactic, basically. You know, he gets it. I don't even feel like there's any weight or impact to the fight scenes and the way he gets defeated. Like, I'm trying to... I've literally just watched the film, as I said, before setting record on my video camera. And I can't even remember how he actually gets beaten up. That's how lackluster it is. You know, the side characters are really cool. I love a lot of the side characters, like the receptionist person, as well as a lot of the other army soldier dudes. I love the grittiness and realism to the war. Like, I can't tell if it's... I'm assuming it's World War One based off the fact that there's trenches and there's no man's land, and I'm assuming that means that it's World War One. But then Armistice thing, I think the Armistice thing didn't happen until World War Two, so I'm a little bit confused as to which war it is, whether it's World War One or Two. So please do let me know in the comment section below if you know which war this one's set in. As for Wonder Woman herself, I can't really comment on her as a character too much because I've never read any of the comics or graphic novels of Wonder Woman, so I have no point of reference to say whether or not she's portrayed well here in contrast to her actual source material. But basically, I'd say Gal Gadot, or however you pronounce the second name, I'm probably butchering that. I think she did a phenomenal job with the role. I think she's, you know, very feisty, very headstrong, very sort of, yeah, to such a point where, you know, a lot of the time she has to very much take a back seat, and, well, not take a back seat, but very much sort of assess the situation a bit more. You know, basically what I'm saying is, what I find fascinating about her character, at least how she's portrayed in this film, is that she very much, as I say, goes head first into a situation and doesn't really think, which is kind of, I guess, a bit odd considering the gender of the character, but also the fact that, like, as I say, like, yeah, the man takes on the role of being a bit more sort of, not weak and not meek by any means, but being a more sort of worldly smart, you know, and smart about, like, you know, life and everything, and he has to teach her, basically, show her and explain to her his world, and that when actually what she lacks in sort of some intelligence, not intelligence, but what she lacks in common knowledge of our world, she very much brings to the table a lot of strength and a lot of, you know, courage, and, as I say, a lot of strength and a lot of, like, feisty sort of, you know, headstrong sort of things. Like, every time there's any male sort of character or female character who sort of stood out of line or very much thinking like, oh, we can't do this because so-and-so's told us not, she's very much in people's face being like, no, you'll listen, we're doing it this way because we need to do it this way because that's going to save lives, you know. She won't take no for an answer, basically. I adore the costume design as well. Like, I love the costume design. The costume design is amazing. And I really love the costume design. I love the reveal of it when she, like, takes off the coat and she jumps off the sort of out of the trench and that, and reveals, like, the costume and that. It just looks awesome. It looks really, really sort of vibrant, but also kind of like its actual armour and stuff, and that, which is always cool. I guess with her powers, if you will, in inverted commas, the one thing that I don't particularly like is when, And I don't like it when the Hulk does it either in some of the Marvel films either, because it's an unnatural movement for a character to jump really far and do the superhero jump thing. So the camera in any film will very much go like whoa whoa and is a bit jittery and a bit like, you know, it's unnatural movement, so it's tracking unnatural movement. So it gets a bit difficult to sort of track the movement, as I say, of a character when they're, you know, jumping a 20 feet building or whatever, you know, or that giant church tower she jumps onto and then like shield bashes it and it smashes and that. I mean, I think it looks epic, but as I say, it just sort of the camera, it takes me out of the film a little bit when they do that with superhero movies, because again, it just feels unnatural and that. And I know there's probably no other better way of tracking a character when they're jumping about and doing unnatural things and that, but Lasso of Truth is in this and it's well utilised. I really like that. And that's always pretty cool to see. She uses a sort of sword and a shield, and they're well utilised and used as well. I love the sort of music, the theme she has, the sort of thing. Probably completely butchered that, but yeah, I love that when she's like fighting people and it happens in sort of slow-mo and the music starts kicking in, and she has her own like theme which is kind of unique and kind of badass as well. I love how her own people, Amazon people are in this island type thing, and it kind of reminds me of Greece or something like that. I wonder if that's where they shot that island, but I'm not sure. But I'm curious to know where that bit was shot. I really like that aspect of the film and that sort of world. It's very unique. The beginning of the film when it gets to that bit and that early on in the film, because it's unique in so much as there's only women there. It's really bizarre. It's very obvious that you immediately notice it because it's just so different, and that is definitely something unique that the film does do at the beginning, as I say, just have women and that, and I'm fine with that. But yeah, it's just weird. It's just such a subtle change, but so noticeable. And I love how their world is sort of ensconced in this sort of bubble and force field and that. I found that fascinating as well. And that, I don't know, again, if that's accurate to the comic books or not. And I think there, where Thor is is sort of Viking mythology and lore. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Wonder Woman takes her sort of mythology and lore from Greek mythology and lore, and that, and gods and stuff. I think I could be wrong on that, but yeah, this film very much did remind me of a female version and therefore a gender swapped version of Captain America: The First Avenger. But because DC are doing their version of that film, it does feel a lot more grittier and a lot more real and a lot more, you know, like if Captain America: The First Avenger is like a little kid, you know, totally going bonkers because he's eaten too many sweets and he's just, you know, flailing his arms about and he's just having fun, then this is the sort of angsty, sort of edgy, sort of teen who's just like on the phone, like, you know, whatever, mum and dad, and all that, and just, you know, giving it a load of lip. You know, that's how I would compare the two if I was to compare the two. But yeah, as I say, I did enjoy it. I will, at some point in the future, probably watch it again. I would definitely watch it again, and I'd definitely probably recommend it for someone who likes superhero films or likes strong, independent female characters. You know, if you like either of those things, then it's probably going to be a film that you really like. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're not a massive fan of superhero films, then it's a superhero film, so that's not going to really change your mind. But I think if you want to see a new film with something, it's set in the past with a superhero character, which really is only done, as I say, with Captain America: First Avenger. The only other film that I can think of that does that, then it's pretty unique. Gal Gadot's a very strong character. I do actually like the side characters, like the music. A lot of the costume design is just on point. Locations as well, like the world it's set in is very interesting. It's just the latter end that fell short and was very underwhelming and naff, really. And I do wish that was better, really, because the rest of the film was a lot stronger, in my opinion. So that was Wonder Woman. All my thoughts on Wonder Woman. Thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe.